Hi, welcome to The Pursuit of Truth. Just two things today from Sky News. One about the Monarchy and the other one about Primodos. Just showing the world that we live in, just examples of the system that we're living in isn't fit for purpose for modern humanity and needs changing. So the first is to do with Monarchy. On Sky News, this, I think it was a historian, was arguing with Wilf, I can't remember his surname, the presenter. I don't know why, it seemed to be very unnecessary, why he got really irate about it, but it was to do with the video they showed before, showing about Republic, who obviously don't want a monarchy. And he talks about democracy, as if it's this thing where you can just write your MP and get changes, or change the world you live in, or have any say in the world you live in. The only people who have any say in the world you live in are the people that you actually vote in. You try changing something. I've tried. You've heard all my struggle with the Lena's Help letter, with the MPs and all those powerful people. Most of them ignore it, and most of them just come back and say, well, this is what we're doing, and that's it. There's no room for, yes, okay, I see you have a point, let me have a look at that and I'll change that, and that's that. You're right. There's none of that. That would be democracy. That's a false fallacy of this idea. We have like a dictatorship, but it's a dictatorship that we vote in. It's not really a democracy like we have the power of the people. The only power we have is if we all stand up, and then that's a riot. So that's not really what we want. What we need is, well, real equal power, because that's what all humans are born with, and that's taken away the minute we buy into this system that doesn't help the majority of us, 90+% of us. Anyway, so yeah, it really was weird how he says that, oh, there is democracy, and yes, if you don't like the king, just write your MP and say don't pay for him, as if, you'd go try that. It's just laughable how disconnected he is. He's probably never written to an MP then, because I've written to MPs, and either you get ignored or you get told, well, we can't do this, like I did when I tried the fertility with the guy from when we were having trouble with fertility, the guy who was Theresa May's, he made a lord, is it Gareth something? Yeah, it didn't help us at all. Or with Alina's Help letter, at least the Eastbourne Caroline Ansell, she has replied back and tried to help, even though, basically it's just write a letter and then they come back saying, no, it's fine. So there's no real democracy in that kind of sense, that we have any kind of power. So yeah, it just made me laugh that he thinks that we do have that.
Politically, with a small p, may I add, and speaking in German, which was a surprise, I think, to most people, and displaying his humour. So I do think it's been faultless.
Robert, would you agree with that assessment?
Yes, I would. I'm not so flowery about it as Ailsa, but I think he's done a very good job, and I would like to take issue with remarks made in that last package by, you gave a lot of air to someone saying we have no say over the monarchy. Now, that's simply not true. The monarchy costs us £80 million a year. We pay taxes. A couple of quid every year of my income tax goes to pay the monarchy. Every year, that budget gets voted on in Parliament. Now, if people are not happy with the monarchy, they simply have to get their MPs to stop that budget. It won't be the end of the monarchy, but it'll cut off taxpayers' support. The idea that this is some remote institution, it's grown out of Britain's history. We got rid of a king in 1649. We cut his head off. We then decided that we'd like him back under the ultimate control of Parliament. And I think that is what we've seen with King Charles. People have been rather disappointed, say he's Charles the Cautious, Charles the Caretaker. Well, I think he has deliberately dialed it down this year. He has not been as outspoken as he was as Prince of Wales, but I think that shows an awareness of his very important position in our Constitution.
Well, I mean, you can understand why Republicans think they have no say on this, just simply because they're currently in the minority. I accept your point that...
no, I'm going to argue with Wilfred. We live in a democracy.
Well, no,
Let them get the votes.
I know. We don't want to take this all up. I think I see your technical
We
point,
live in
but you
a
can
democracy,
understand.
Wilfred. It is not a technical point. It is the heart of our democracy. Every year we vote on whether we want to spend on the royal family or not, and a majority of people vote for that. And other people don't. It's a free country. But don't suggest that's some sort of conspiracy. If people don't like it, get the votes together, stop the money, and we'll change the system.
I get that, but it would be hard to make constitutional change just simply from the starting point where it's not like it's a referendum every year.
It's a very good thing too. I mean, do you want to change the whole system of Parliament?
Yes.
Anyway, I want to continue the discussion about how his first year...
I don't know, just amazing really to think that he thinks that it would be that easy to change anything in this world. It's really difficult. Just this idea, most people are apathetic, that's the problem. Most people have just decided, you know, like my parents told me as a child when I would watch Outer Limits and question things, and they would say, well, this is just how the way it is. And I'd be watching Outer Limits thinking, oh, I wish the world was like this. Why can't we love each other? Why can't we, you know? And that's the answer. And then you grow up with that. And then everyone grows up with that and thinks that, well, this is just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it because I'm just a little man, a little person. And so that's why things don't get changed. Anyway, and here's about Primodos, showing how the government and pharmaceutical companies working together. And this is why, you know, it's very difficult, you know, to get anything changed. Look at this struggle of Primodos has been going through how many years? And now, look at the tactics the government are using to try and not address something they apologise for.
And throughout the day, here on Sky News. Campaigners against the pregnancy drug Primodos have accused the government of using bullying tactics after being threatened with legal action. In a letter, they were told unless they commit to never making another claim, they would be responsible for the legal bills of the lawyers used to block their joint action. Our Home editor Jason Farrell explains.
For 50 years, campaigners have fought for recognition that a pregnancy test drug called Primodos, given to them by their GPs, damaged babies in the womb. This year, their claim was struck out in the courts, and now they've been sent a letter by lawyers representing the Department of Health and manufacturer, saying that unless they commit to never making another claim, they will have to pay legal costs.
It constitutes bullying and intimidation. They want us to sign a form to say that we will never, ever initiate any legal action in the future, no matter what kind of evidence comes forward.
What happens if you don't do that?
They will slap that 10 million plus on our families.
So they're threatening you?
Yes, they are. I am absolutely disgusted with our government. Not only did they damage us initially, but now they're actually asking us to pay for it.
Yesterday, the issue was debated in Parliament.
This drug was given to them by their GPs. And I hope that the Minister will stand up this afternoon and say very clearly, the women who took Primodos, whose children suffered, were at no fault whatsoever and should not feel guilty at all. The fault lay with the NHS.
This is, in my view, potentially one of the biggest cover-ups of a pharmaceutical outrage the world has ever seen.
This drug was used in South Korea and in Germany as an abortifacient. It was used to procure abortions. Well, what is a drug that will do that doing to a baby?
In 2020, an independent review team found that Primodos caused avoidable harm, suggesting that the government should apologise and set up a redress scheme. Well, the Department of Health did apologise, but what happened next didn't seem very apologetic. They hired lawyers alongside the manufacturers of the drug to strike out a legal challenge. And now it's the opposite of redress, the claimants being threatened with the government's legal bill. The government was asked what kind of signal this sends to future claimants.
The letter that's gone out to those taking part in court cases, I will look at that because I don't want to be in a position where people feel that they cannot get justice simply because they cannot afford to do so.
The manufacturer Shearing, now owned by Bayer, points to a report by an expert working group which found evidence did not support an association between the drug and malformations. Jason Farrell, Sky News.
Just a bit of breaking news relating to the prison escape of...
And there you go. So, that's the world we live in. Even when they apologise for making a mistake, they can still come back at you. And look how long it took to get this change. 50 years. That's the world we live in. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.